Alright, we're just gonna jump right on in, I suppose. We're building. Should probably turn notifications off before this. Oh no. Alright, let's put this on vibrate. I'm just doing one take because I'm too much of a perfectionist to do this otherwise. I've just told myself this is it. We're doing one take of this voiceover and then that's it. I'm attaching it to this speed build and that'll be what the YouTube gets. I'm building another Sims home. Surprise, surprise. Or maybe it is a surprise, given the frequency with which I actually upload anything. But yeah, it's a 2-bedroom, 2 full bath home for, I imagine, sort of like 1.5 Sims, which will make sense in a second, I promise. So the story that I had behind the people living here is that it's a divorced father and he gets partial custody of his son on like weekends, and so this is like the home in which he and his ex-wife like raised their son, and so it's sort of still designed to be sort of like a small family home, and so he still has a room for his son and like an extra bathroom for when his son comes to visit. And the story behind like the parents is that they are both very creative types. So the father is very into woodworking and sculpting stuff, and the mom is very into art and I think gardening, I decided, was like a secondary hobby of hers. And when they were gonna have a kid, the mother was like, we need to start to make more of like a reliable source of income so that we can support this child. And the father was like very like, no, we need to continue doing our art and like it'll work out or whatever. And she was like, we actually have to get real jobs, quote unquote. So that was part of the tension between them, and then she left him, and he kind of still has like all of her stuff there from before when they were together, like some of her art stuff, and yeah, I don't know. So the son though is a teenager now, so I'm imagining that maybe she left when the kid was around 5 or so, and or like a younger child, and or they divorced around then, and so now that the son is a teenager, he is starting to get really into music and doesn't care as much about school, and the mother went to all this trouble to make sure that he's in a good school and that he like takes care to be educated and do well, and he just like doesn't seem to prioritize it as much as he should, and instead just prioritizes his music. And I think that she supports him still doing his music since she's also artsy, but really wants him to prioritize school higher than he does. Whereas the father is like, yeah, like school's dumb. I don't know, maybe not, but I don't know. I think the father is more laid back and more interested in his son really pursuing music as his like the main focus of like all of his energy, instead of sort of having more of a balance between the two. And so his father has let his son not convert, but he's moved his truck out of the garage, and it's now basically like a studio or a band practicing space for the son and his bandmates. So there's like a little garage band practice space in the garage. That was like the main thing that I wanted to build in this house, was this garage, which I get to just about now, and almost everything else afterwards was secondary to like add to the story. After I built the garage, I was like, all right, there's gonna be like a teen like who is living here and who plays in the garage with his band, and then the rest of the story kind of developed around that, because the garage was very important to me. The band in the garage was very important to me. I also never really thought about the fact that GarageBand, like the the audio recording software, was like named what it is because of garage bands. Like bands that play in garages. I don't know why I didn't make that connection until I made this house, but I didn't, so it was a great epiphany for me. But yeah, how are you peoples doing? How are y'all? Today I went to the beach, which is very close to where my parents live, because I'm now living with my parents again. Since it's quarantine and everyone's working from home, doesn't make a whole lot of sense for me to be paying for a place to live that I don't have to like be near work. Like, anyways, so I'm in a different state than where my work is, which is interesting. And I'm just working from home and saving money, which I guess is, yes, it's definitely good. But yeah, so the beach is very close to where my parents live, and it's nice to not be in an apartment with people touching things like knobs and getting their viruses on them. And instead being in like a house with just my immediate family, so that we can all not get corona together. And I went with my mother and godmother, my two straight moms, to the beach, and it was a grand time. We had crackers with pepper on them, pepper crackers, which I normally don't like, but we put Gouda cheese on it, and then honey, like very lovely quality honey with like the honeycomb still on it, which I'd never had before, and it was so good. Would recommend. 10 out of 10. It was like, I think I'd put maybe too much honey for the ratio of like cheese and crackers that we had, because it did get like sickeningly sweet at one point, but I think with like a smaller amount of honey, it would have been like perfect, and it was still like very good. So yeah, that was amazing. And it feels so much better to like cut honey than it does to pour it. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me. I hate the like honey jar things and then how sticky they get. Same with like maple syrup. I hate it so much. I hate how sticky like the bottles for maple syrup get. It's not enjoyable. And then like the top, it gets all coated with like dried syrup. I don't know. Maybe I gotta just wash my syrup cans more frequently, and honey cans, and that'll just solve that problem. But yeah, it's not my favorite. I guess I could talk about the build itself. I guess the thought I had, sort of like a 60s inspired inspiration. Yeah, that's a sentence. I had like some 60s inspiration when building this, which is why I went for like a really dated interior at first, but then it's still decently dated, but I did eventually kind of modernize it, because I figured that the father, since he's really handy and into like crafts and stuff, would have like modernized a lot of the interior and exterior as well, especially since the exterior looks so kind of like revamped. Like it still definitely has some of the more 60s inspired aspects to it, but it looks much more like up to date. So I wanted the interior to kind of reflect that as well. And I felt like the son's bedroom and the second bathroom were very much like an addition to the house that he made. So they're different roof and different wall siding, I guess, on the outside as well. So that kind of illustrate that. So yeah, this room is meant to be the master bedroom, and it's really the most tranquil room in the whole house. The rest of the house, especially the living, dining, kitchen space, is kind of a disaster. But I imagine that being with his wife kind of, I don't know, I think that maybe she's the more put together and well, I mean, she is the artistic one, so maybe she has more of a sense for like aesthetic, whereas he's much more like practicality and function of things. So I mean, I guess he also is like a sculptor. Maybe he's just more like handy and not like a sculptor, but he's more like a handy like repairman slash like craftsman. I don't know. For whatever reason, I decided that their master bedroom would be the like nicer space. And I also definitely decided that green was her favorite color, so I put a lot of green touches in the house. Whenever there was kind of like a choice about what color to add, I usually went with green. And I also got to use those just terrible tiles that came with Get to Work in the kitchen there. I don't think I've ever used those because they're horrendous, so I was really excited to have a space where I could use those purposefully and they didn't suck quite as much. I think especially since the kitchen is so small, having the green tiles there because it's a small scale, it's like already bad, but like can you imagine that in a bigger kitchen? Oh, it's like not even 9 tiles, it's like 8.5 because there's that one corner piece. But oh man, it's so it hurts your eyes to look at it for too long. And I should have put a rug in there now that I'm thinking about it, like in front of the stove, like in that walkway, in front of the garage, maybe even the door to the garage, I mean, to maybe break it up a bit, but that's okay. You can always add that if you do want to play with this house. It's actually entirely playable. I did play test it. I already made the Sims of the family that I was talking about. I haven't fully done their outfits or anything yet, but I did make the Sims, and I had them walk around and test out everything. And I think there are a few things that I did move a little bit from playtesting that don't show in this Speedbuild build because I stopped recording after I'd considered myself to be done. But yeah, I did play test it afterwards and then move things around based on what they could get access to, especially the area kind of near the dining / living space. That bookshelf above the TV area kind of gave me a little bit of issues, so I had to play around with that a bit to make sure that they could use both the bookshelf and sit in the chair that's next to it. But it does work, everything works, so that's exciting. But yeah, I'm sort of working very slowly but surely on making my own save file. It's gonna be probably never, if ever. I don't know, I do get some like bursts of creative excitement where I do get through quite a few lots, but I think given the amount of lots that are already in the game, it's very far-fetched. But you know, you never know. We're gonna be in quarantine for a while. Maybe I'll just completely do the whole Sims for everything. So I have a new newish PC. I think I finished building it in like March, and I need to get all of the various lots that I built on my like laptop and old PC to make sure that, because there are quite a few things that I just don't have on this save right now because I didn't save them to my library because I seldom do that, and I just have them on my game, so I should probably just move those save files over. This is really exciting content, isn't it? It's just the best. I don't know where I was gonna go with the whole beach story, but I feel like I had an end goal, but I didn't get there. I don't know, just being outside is nice. It's interesting how like now it feels so exciting to do something like just walk or like drive to the beach. I mean, I still think even before COVID, like that was an exciting thing to go and do. But it's like especially exciting to like go see other people in the wild. I miss how like attractive and messy people are out in the wild. Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing that I miss. It's just humanoids. I think probably that's the case for everyone though. But yeah, it was good to see other folks walking about. There was this, I assume, I don't know, family member at least, and this girl who was like probably 5 or 6, who was hanging out in like one of those floaty, inflatable like tube devices, and it's one of those that has like the handles on it. And so the family member, who was like an adult, had tied a rope to one of the tubes and was just kind of like dragging her around in the water. And she was having a grand old time. She looked so zen and relaxed, just being dragged around in the water. That does seem fun, I'm not gonna lie. So I would have enjoyed that. Clearly you can see here that I did not cut out any of the parts where I just like stop for 20 minutes. Either I'm like talking to someone or I'm on my phone. I don't know. Who knows, man? But I feel like perfection is my worst enemy with these sorts of things. So going back and taking the time and editing to like see all the moments like that where I like paused for a while and editing them out would keep me from making this video. So instead I'm just doing it, and here it is. It's done. I think we're almost done actually. So yeah, I hope that you enjoyed my rambling, and I hope that you enjoyed this lovely, well, I think it's lovely. I hope that you enjoyed the speed build, and I hope that you're all doing well and staying safe. Bye!